I'm Sam from Cultaholic, and this is Graded for Friday Night SmackDown, where I take a look at the show segment by segment and award each little bit a grade from A+ to F. Now, there is a lot going on this week. We've got AJ Styles versus Gran Metalik. We have got Bayley versus Nikki Cross for the Women's Championship. We've got all sorts popping off. So without any further ado, let's crack on with it. Hit the intro. So we start things off with a bit of a cold open this week, and then it goes to Firefly Funhouse, and Bray's like, you know what, I didn't really want to hurt Braun, I just wanted to help him. But now he is awake, and now he won't be stopped. He wants something that Braun has, and everybody's in danger until he gets it. That was pretty much it. It was too short to grade, really, so yeah, but any Bray and all Bray is good Bray. And then we go to our first match of the night, and the opening match of the night is AJ Styles versus Gran Metalik for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. This is going to be insane. Metalik comes down with Lindsay, AJ is there on his own, and it starts off quite slowly, which is surprising because I thought it was going to explode out of the gates, but it's just really, they're feeling each other out and there's a lot of back and forth going on. AJ proper lays it in, he's just taking it to Metalik. He even goes for a really quick Styles clash, but it doesn't pan out. Metalik sends him fumbling to the outside. So both men end up on the floor brawling, but when we come back, Metalik is trying to keep that momentum going. He's in charge in the ring, but AJ keeps catching him short. AJ even then starts working over his legs, because if you take away the vertical base of a flyer, they can't do poop. They can't do nothing. Metalik does dial it up though. He hits an amazing tornado DDT. It's like super quick out of nowhere. It was great. Almost gets a pin, but AJ ain't going away that easily, is he? He then goes to lift AJ, but his knee gives way. AJ's been working it over like the entire match, and then eventually he locks in the calf crusher, and unfortunately that is the end of the road for Gran Metalik. Post-belt, Metalik is wiped out. Lindsay gets in, he's trying to help his mate. AJ stands there, sort of looking at them like he's maybe gonna offer to shake their hand. He's kind of there looking, he's got his belt, and then he nails Lindsay from behind with it. I just realized I just punched in front of the microphone. I hope that wasn't too loud. He nails Lindsay with the belt and then hits him with a Styles clash, making a big statement here. Now I'm going to give this one a B+. It was a really nice match, but it wasn't what I was expecting. I was expecting something that was a bit like all mouth, no trousers, something that was going to be really flashy and just full of super fast moves, quick roll-ups, sort of, spotty match, but no, they constructed something with a good little bit of psychology to it. The story wasn't great, but AJ targeting that leg just mercilessly throughout. I want to see AJ become this untapped character, because the way he was just going after Metalik and the way he jumped Lindsay afterwards, it was fantastic. We then go backstage, and Baron Corbin is with Short-Ass G. So Shorty is watching the TV, and Corbin's like, you know what, I can see you wrestling Styles, I can see you as the Intercontinental Champion, but the thing is, you need the right friends, don't you? You need the right friends around you to really push you up to that level. Corbin then tries to say that despite everything, despite the bullying, the short jokes, the general meanness that Baron Corbin exhibits on a weekly basis toward anybody shorter than him or anybody who he just generally doesn't like, they're actually mates. And Gable's like, yeah, I don't think so. I really don't think so, man. Corbin's like, I could help you not be so overlooked, which I loved. It was a really crap throwaway dad joke. And then Gable brings up Riddle, and Corbin's like, well, the King's Ransom's still there. And it's just sort of left floating in the air, and we cut away. Next up, we have Jeff Hardy in ring. He comes down and he's like, you know what? I have been through the mill these last few months. I have been through a lot. But he says he's on the right path. He may be an alcoholic, but that's not all he is. He's a father, he's a husband, he's a hero to all of these people that support him worldwide. He then thanks his family and friends, and he's cut off by Baron Corbin. And Corbin's like, you know what, Jeff? I used to like you, but you're like so extreme and everything, and it was amazing, and now all you do is come out here and moan and look for sympathy, and he just turns it right back around on Jeff. I really hope they haven't just switched Corbin out for Sheamus. This is, yeah. Corbin then runs down Riddle, he runs down Gulak, he runs down SmackDown as a whole, he starts going back in on Jeff, and then Gulak jumps him from behind, and it all goes to a bit madness before we go to the break. So back from the break, we're straight into it with Gulak dropping Corbin and just locking him up, trying to grind him into the mat. Corbin's fighting back, but Gulak is on fire. However, obviously Corbin is the bigger guy, he's got better reach, and he's able to use that to put some distance between them and then take advantage and start working over Gulak. Gulak is on top of his game though. He does turn it around real quick. There's like a crossface that he rolls into from a crab from Corbin. That was really well done. Corbin's like panicking, can't get out of this crossface, gets out of it, eats some strikes, goes, hits the deep six, and then Matt Riddle's music hits. In the confusion, Gulak almost has the pin, but Corbin catches him short, stares at Riddle, nails him with the end of days. 1, 2, 3. Riddle then comes down, takes it to Corbin. There's a little bit of fighting back and forth, and then out of nowhere, from behind, Shorty G appears and just suplexes Matt Riddle. He stands tall with Corbin, and this is going to be a technical wrestling masterpiece, man. Look at it. I can't wait to see that. I can't wait. I'm going to give it a B-. I think despite it being a fairly quick one, it was thoroughly entertaining. I think we got enough in there that Gulak looks like a real credible threat, and we're just building that slowly, and I quite like that. Corbin now, of course, has Chad Gable as a buffer to throw between him and Riddle, so this one's going to get very interesting very soon. Next up, we have Big E versus The Miz with John Morrison at ringside. So this one starts off with Big E keeping Miz at comfortable distance. He's taunting him the entire time. Whenever Miz is coming in, he'll like lock him in the abdominal stretch and start spanking him. He'll do whatever he can to just get inside Miz's head. Miz then chooses to slap Big E, just straight across the face, just slaps him. Absolute disrespect. Big E looks at him for a second, and then it's literally just yeet, like Miz goes flying. Miz is like in the middle of the ring, and Big E just goes whoop, and he's gone. He's absolutely gone. He then takes him around the barricades until Morrison comes with that like cannonball flippy kick thing he does and takes it to Big E while the referee's back's turned. Back in the ring, Miz starts working him over, but again, Big E hulks up. He just takes him straight back to the apron, starts working him over, goes for a splash, but unfortunately misses it. When we come back from yet another break, Jesus Christ, America, what's wrong with your television system? Miz is just locking another chin lock in. He's really trying to just ground Big E, slow the pace, work him over a little bit, maybe knacker him, because then at least that size difference isn't going to matter as much. However, it doesn't last long because Big E then goes into a trio of suplexes, hits a standing splash, and he would have had the big ending if Miz hadn't raked his eyes like a dastardly little heel. Miz then lays in the it kicks before taking the knees to Big E in the corner. There was almost an apron spear, it says here. Big E is rocked by an interfering Morrison again, and then Miz hits the skull-crushing finale. But it's not enough, so he rolls it into the figure four, and Big E is having to crawl and climb and fight his way to the rope, and then eventually John Morrison is finally caught by the referee interfering. He's ejected. Miz is really upset and angry about it. There's a lot of confusion. Big E then rolls through, grabs Miz, puts him into the stretch muffler, that horrible looking submission. Miz is screaming and howling, and he taps. Big E wins. This is going to be beautiful. I'm going to give this one a B+. It felt so nice seeing Big E in singles action again. So bloody nice. Now, we've probably only got a limited time on this window, so I'm hoping there's no more Miz, no more Morrison. I think with Big E having this small window to go on one little singles run here, it's sort of like a gift. He should climb the ladder every week. He should just work his way up, you know, for a title shot of some description, surely. Just work his way through there. Next up, we go to Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro backstage, and they're in their little, like, party area. They're having, like, a little party, little celebration, because they've won the belts. And, you know, it's just what wrestlers do a couple of weeks after doing something. They hold a little party for it backstage. And then Lucha House Party turn up, and they're sort of wanting to join in, and Cesaro runs them down. Nakamura takes the mick out of them, and there's a bit of a standoff, with Lindsay having to pull Gran Metalik back because Cesaro slagged him off for losing and made a little jibe. We then go to Sheamus, who's once again got his lovely little hat on, and he addresses the situation with Jeff Hardy. He talks about him being foolish for choosing a bar because he should have realised that the bar is Jeff's home stadium. It's his home field advantage there in that bar. He was really fighting Jeff and Jeff's lifelong partner, alcohol. How the flip have we got to this? Like, this is... yeah. But thankfully, Sheamus is like, you know what? I don't have to worry about this anymore. I'm SmackDown's problem now, not just Jeff Hardy's problem. So hopefully this is just cut, dead, and the Corbin stuff isn't just going to be a direct continuation. Hopefully that's just done. That's it. Can we get Sheamus into the title picture, please? Bloody hell. Next up, we have Lacey Evans versus Naomi once again. And yeah, match starts off fairly similar. Lacey straight in there trying to tie Naomi's hair up to try and just, get an unfair advantage, beat her down. I should say as well, before the match, Lacey runs down the hashtag, the Naomi deserves better hashtag. That was a little bit like, whoa. But it goes through the match. It's like a central theme as the match is ongoing. Like Lacey, there's some great moments with like Lacey stretching Naomi's spine around a ring post before driving her into it, and she's a proper contemptible heel. That's one thing I do like about Lacey, is she gets it right. There's like a right level of hateability there whenever she plays a heel character. I mean, just to show you what I mean, there's even a point where she takes Naomi out because she can't tie her to the ropes because Naomi already knows that she's going to try and do that. She just beats her down, grabs a fistful of her hair, lifts the ring steps, throws the hair under and drops the ring steps on the hair, trapping her there. Later on, Naomi comes flying under the ropes for what looked like it was going to be Destroyer, but it didn't quite go to plan. I hope everybody's okay. The landing looked a little bit awkward, but nobody landed like on their heads or anything, but here's hoping. And then eventually, of course, Lacey tries to go for the one thing in her arsenal that always works, which is the women's right, except she goes for it, Naomi ducks it, and then she just backslides her into a cheeky 3. Naomi picks up the win. Lacey loses it. She goes to commentary. She's screaming hashtag Lacey deserves better. Standard, sassy Southern Belle. In terms of a grade for this one, I think I can only really give it a D. It's just, I want Naomi to have a title. I want her to be up in that area. I don't want her to be, doing a storyline about hashtag Naomi deserves better. I'd rather you just treat her better. And then finally, they have returned. Our power couple, Otis and Mandy, are backstage, and Mandy's like, you know what? We haven't been on a date for a while, so just to surprise you, I've booked your favourite barbecue place. But not just that, I've booked a back room, so nobody can see how much we're all you can eating, which is just, I'm onto you, you dirty buggers. I know what you're doing in that back room with all of that meat. Yeah. So you know what, we'll go and sort of stuff, we'll come back and meet you here, and then we'll head out. And as they walk off, Sonya emerges from behind some flight cases in the background. So we go to a break and we come back, and Mandy is applying lipstick in the mirror, and then Sonya just attacks her from behind. She's scrawling the lipstick all over her face, she's beating her down, she's screaming, she hates her, you ruined my life, all of this stuff. Sonya, you can't take your eyes off her here. This entire thing, she's so good. She's just screaming at it. It's like visceral. It feels like it's coming from right down here. It's proper bile-filled hatred. She then proceeds to grab a pair of scissors and she cuts a large chunk out of Mandy's hair. Mandy's riding around. She can't stop her from doing it. She's just beating her down, cutting her hair out, telling her she's going to make her ugly, all of this stuff. And then she's like, well, what else can I do? She's beating her down. She's trashed the table. And then she picks up a set of hair clippers. At this point, all of the officials then run in. It's like, whoa, stop, just go. You've done what you want to do, just leave, pack it in. And then it's just gone. We then get a little update from Kayla, who's doing an interview yes, she's all right, your standard sort of, oh no, this thing's happened, let's check up on it. And then, weirdly, I know what they're going for. Obviously, Miz and Morrison are going to now feud with Tucker and Otis, because Tucker and Otis are there checking on Mandy. But Miz and Morrison show up, and they just ruin the entire segment. It was super serious and amazing, and then they just turn up and sort of make... It was like a wet fart at the level of DX in 2009. It was sort of like that. But yeah, I understand why they did it. I just think that it could have maybe done it a different time, because that promo was powerful. That vignette, that whole segment was powerful. But in terms of a grade for this, I'm going to give it an A+. A+. Sonya needs to be one of the featured faces, or at least the top featured faces of the women's division. She is smashing it. To think that at the start of this year, you'd said Sonya Deville is going to be the best promo, the best at all of this backstage stuff, you'd be laughed out of the room, but she's just proven everybody wrong. It's phenomenal. And finally, we get to this evening's main event, which is Bayley versus Nikki Cross for the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship. Now, we have Sasha Banks on the outside, and we of course have Alexa Bliss on the outside for Nikki as well. And as everybody guessed, Nikki explodes out of the blocks the second that bell rings, and Bayley can't keep up with the pace. She's just frenetically swinging and going crazy, and just Bayley's like, calm down, just calm down. Like, she almost gets a neck breaker straight away. Bayley escapes to the outside, and then there's just a load of stuff out there. There's like a crossbody to the floor off the apron, which hurts Bayley's ribs, which is something else that comes up later in the match. But then with Bayley rolling around and writhing in agony, we come back from the break, and she is in charge of the match. Nikki then starts to power up. There's a crossbody, there's a tornado DDT, there's even more apron work. It's really frenetic. It's really neck and neck, this one. It's quite odd. It's sort of like Bayley has underestimated Nikki. Nikki is as good as, if not better than Bayley, and now Bayley's a bit like... There's also a moment on the outside where Bayley goes to the floor, and then Sasha comes over and she's like, "You okay?" And she very clearly hands her something. Back in the ring, Nikki's like trading blows with Bayley. They're going back and forth, and then she catches her into something, and then Sasha's ring, like the boss ring, just drops onto the mat. Nikki then gets a hold of it, she loses it. She's looking at it, the referee's looking at Nikki like, "Don't use it, or you're gonna be disqualified." And Bayley's like, "I don't know anything about that." And Sasha's like, and Nikki's just looking at everybody, she's getting angrier and angrier, and then she just hurls it to the outside off of Banks. There's a bit where Bayley climbs up onto the announce table and she starts just mocking Nikki, you know, doing the same mannerisms that Nikki does whenever she gets hyped. But then this really hulks Nikki up. She doesn't like that, so she levels her, takes her back in the ring. Banks goes to try and get involved. Alexa pulls her off the apron, and it looks like Bayley's fate is sealed. Nikki goes for a massive crossbody, but it's not enough, and then eventually Bayley is able to somehow sneakily do that stompy face to the floor finish that she does to pick up the win. Post bell, out they go, bragging, cheering, laughing. They still have all the gold, and Nikki looks despondent. She just looks broken. She's in the ring, just staring into space, looking like she's about to burst into tears. Alexa looks terrified. She's like, "I don't know what I'm gonna do." She looks so sad. "I just want to make everything okay." And then she's like looking at her, and then eventually she just shoves her and she walks off, and Alexa's left alone, just sat alone in the ring as Nikki walks to the back. And that's not where this episode ends, because Alexa's sat there in the ring, and then one by one the lights in the arena start to go out, and then we know what's coming next. Red lights come on, Alexa looks terrified, and the Fiend is stood behind her. He crawls around her, he looks at her, he gently lifts his hand up and starts moving it toward her face, and she's like, "No, no, no," and then he mandible claws her to death. Cut to black, that's that. Now with that ending, I'm going to give this one a B-. That was delightful, but the match itself, it was just a little bit too neck and neck for my taste. It didn't really feel like anybody was taking damage. It was like, it's such a horrible thing. I'm not a wrestler, I can't say that, but I get that it's like a title match and everybody's hungry, but it just felt like everybody was starting with full finishers and like charged meters. It was like boom, 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 and everybody's getting straight back up. There was no real agony here, but then maybe again that's just the point of the match, because Nikki's more frenetic and Bayley's just trying to avoid any abuse as and where she can. The Fiend stuff's interesting. It's obviously still tied to Braun, but I'm quite excited to see if Alexa's going to disappear for a few weeks, because I think the idea of that happening and then just, I don't know where they're going to take it, I don't know what they're going to do with it, but the idea of Alexa disappearing and being missing and people looking for her and Bray just not giving an inch, or even Bray's like, "I don't even know, because I don't know where the Fiend's taking her," like, I think it could lead to like a nice little mystery storyline. But in terms of an overall grade for SmackDown this week, I'm also going to give it a B-. It was an up and down week, and SmackDown has this ability of like just running a show where very little happens, but it's still really entertaining, and they sort of did it again. They've done it again. AJ Metalik was of course fantastic. Naomi Lacey was a little bit meh. The main event was, you know, it was, I just guess not to my taste. It was a good match and it was entertaining. It just wasn't really my thing. The Bray stuff, though, I'm like super hyped for. And I'm looking forward to Sheamus as well. I'm hoping that next week we get some sort of setup, or at least in a couple of weeks, we work out where he's going next. And we make sure that Corbin isn't going to be the next guy to just go off on Jeff Hardy. Because I just can't be bothered for another repeat storyline, if I'm being honest. I don't think any of you people at home can be either. So yeah, but that was this week's Graded for SmackDown. What did you think of the show? Let me know in the comments below. As always, stay safe. I've been Sam, and I'll see you soon.